What is up, everyone? I am your host, Gina. Welcome back to the Unfiltered Convos podcast. Today's episode is going to be a little bit different. I am going to be interviewing my co-host, Linda, so you guys can get to know her a little bit deeper. And next episode, she'll do the same to me. So let's get into it. I'm going to pass the mic to you. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi guys, my name is Jessica, aka Linda. I am
A baddie.
a male. All the above. I'm just kidding. So I'm going to be interviewed by my co-host and sister, Gina Leslie.
Okay, so let's take it all the way to the beginning. Go ahead and tell us about your childhood. Like, how did you grow up? What are some memorable moments for you? What was your relationship like with your family members?
So I feel like I had a really good childhood. I think my parents gave us materialistic, at least like everything we wanted. They tried to give us everything that they didn't have, and they did. I feel like what I missed out a lot on was like emotional support. And I felt like I looked for that in like different relationships and like in friends and guys. I think I have a little bit of mommy and daddy issues, even though I have my mom and my dad very well present and involved in my life. But yeah, I think I have some issues when it comes to that because I didn't get the emotional like love support from them.
Do you think that is the reason why you open up to people easily? Like,
maybe because I feel like I couldn't open up. I want people to ask me like, "Are you okay?" So whenever someone does like start up a conversation with me, I'm like spilling the beans. I'm like telling them my whole life story. I don't know. Maybe.
interesting. What are some memorable moments from your childhood?
I think the most like memorable, like the ones that I remember and I love are the ones where my dad would take us to the movies every Sunday, or we'd go to church. We'd go to church, and then literally every Sunday, we never missed a Sunday, we'd go to the movies. And then I remember we'd go to Big Conwood Canyon a lot and take pictures up there. And just like we would like do stupid shit to Marvin.
Yeah, that was probably one of the best.
I think those are the most like the beautiful memories that I always will cherish, just like when we were growing up.
Yeah, like the family aspect,
Yeah.
having a family together. And what was your relationship like with your family members?
I feel like growing up, when we were younger, like, I don't know. When we were like toddlers, I don't remember that. I feel like when we got into like maybe preteen, I feel like we fought a lot.
Yeah.
We fought a lot, but I feel like me and Marvin also fought a lot too. And then with relationship with like my parents, I couldn't go to my mom or my dad. I was so scared of both of them. Like when I lost my virginity, that was like one thing I never went to them. And I feel like I needed my mom. That's when I really needed my mom the most, and I couldn't go to her.
Out of fear?
Yeah, out of fear. And then when they did find out, it was exactly what I expected. Yeah, I'm like, this is why I didn't tell you guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think our relationship, but I also feel like there was a lot of divide between us siblings, and I think that had a lot to do with our mother.
Yeah.
But I wish like we would have like been closer. I feel like now, because we realize and now we recognize like what it really was, I think we try to be closer now.
Yeah.
But I wish that would have been different when we were younger.
So personally, I know that because you are the oldest, you've mentioned that being the oldest sibling was hard at times.
Why did I even ask this question?
Can you talk a little bit about that? Like, what made it hard for you being the older sibling?
I feel like just like that pressure. Like, I didn't want to be the role model because I know I wasn't perfect and I fucked up a lot, but just like my parents would always tell me like, oh, your sister and your brother are like looking up to you, or if you do this, they're gonna do that. And I didn't want that responsibility. But then I was having this conversation with Angela the other day. Was like, yeah, like, I get it. Like, I'm the first one. Like, we have no choice, but nobody thinks about the older one. Like, who is my role model?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I didn't have like my role models were my parents, but then I learned these bad habits that now I'm like, that's not, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's just like the pressure where it's like, oh, you're the oldest and you have to take care and you have to be the role model. Like, I don't want to be the role model. I didn't want to be the role model.
Well, it's funny that you say that because little did they know that I don't really feel like I looked up to you like that, though.
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't feel like it was that way, but I see where you're coming from.
And then I also feel, for example, like how you say you didn't really look up to me like that. I see that in families when the parents aren't so involved.
Mm-hmm.
Like where the younger siblings tend to look up
I see
the older ones. But because the parents aren't that involved, so they look up to the older siblings.
Because the older one was the one in charge.
Right, yeah, and I wasn't. Like, my parents were the ones in charge, and then my parents were the ones involved.
Yeah.
So, like...
That makes sense.
I could see why you guys didn't look up to me, because you guys had your parents. I didn't have to.
Yeah.
But just, like, when I would, like, mess up, they'd be like, your sister and your brother are looking at you. I'm like, well... Fuck, hopefully they decide better.
Hopefully they go the other way.
Hopefully they go the other way.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, so what about school? How was school growing up?
Oh, Jesus. When it came to school, I feel like I was rebelling out when I got to, like, the 9th grade. Mm-hmm. But because I felt like my parents were so strict. The only time I ever actually got to interact with friends or people was in school. Mm-hmm. So I would ditch school to go have some fun. Because come home, we weren't allowed to do any of that. We weren't allowed to leave the house. We weren't allowed to, like, go hang out with our friends. Or if it would only be for, like, a little bit. Mm-hmm. They were just super strict. But even my teachers would say, you're smart. When you're in class, like, you do your work and you hand the stuff in. It's you always leave, or you turn in your stuff late, or you don't turn it in at all. So I was so bad. I barely graduated. I barely graduated. I just didn't want to go to school. Yeah. I prefer to have more of, like, that fun. Yeah. Which now I'm like, oh, that was so dumb of me. But
it's also normal, especially at that 9th grade age, because I feel like that's kind of when I rebelled out too.
When you're getting into, like, high school?
Yeah.
Because at 7th and 8th, I wasn't like that. That's, like, junior high still.
Yeah. No, that's normal. That's when I feel like most kids...
tend to rebel out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's expected, especially with strict parents, like you said.
Strict parents create sneaky kids.
Yes. Yes, that is true. Clearly we saw that. Yes. So what did you see yourself doing when you were a kid? Like, what was your dream? What was your dream job?
Being in the criminal justice field. I always wanted to be a probation officer.
Why?
I don't know. And then I wanted to do juvenile. Something about, like, troubled kids, like, touches my heart, because it's like, I don't know if it's me. I don't want to say I was a troubled kid, because I wasn't that bad, like, in the streets, but just, like, I know where all that comes from. It comes from your childhood, or not having, like, your mom's love, or your dad's love, or your support. I don't know, that's always, like, touched me. Yeah. Where I'm like, I want to be able to help these kids, even though they did something, and now they get they get a time to rebuild themselves,
and you want to be a part.
And I want to be a part of that. Yeah,
that makes sense. I have a I don't know what the word is, but I feel that way about homeless people. Yeah, I've always had this, like, a soft spot for them, because I always think, like, whenever I see somebody in the streets just, like, all drugged out, I think to myself, I'm like, that's somewhat, what did you go through in life that got you there? And that's also someone's kid. At the end of the day, that is someone's kid, and it's sad. And so I don't judge homeless people, or not necessarily just homeless, but, like, drug addicts more than anything.
Yeah, because it all comes from your childhood. You're, like, something traumatic happened to you for it to come out that way. Because there's people that are stronger enough to not go, right through it and not get involved in drugs. And there is some people that, I don't even want to say that they're not strong, but do tend to choose drugs and alcohol to hide their feelings.
Yeah.
And that one hit can lead to an addiction.
Yeah. Very true. With us being Mexican American, how did being Mexican American shape your childhood? Did you feel like you were different in school?
Yes.
Even
I still do feel like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like especially with our families, I feel like one side of the family is more whitewashed and then the other is really Mexican. And I feel like for the whitewashed side of the family, we're too Mexican. But for the Mexican side of the family, we're too whitewashed. And I feel like I didn't belong with my white friends, but then I didn't belong with like my hella paisa friends.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't as paisa as Mexican as them, and then I wasn't as white as my white friends.
Yeah. Well, do you also remember when we would go to Mexico, they would call us fresas?
Fresas.
And at first I didn't even know what that meant. And I was like, what the heck is fresa? And I remember when my mom explained it to me, being a kid, I was like, what the heck? Like, no, that's not me. Like, I'm just American.
Like, we're Mexican and we only know the Mexican side because of our parents. Yeah. But we grew up here. It's only like...
It's inevitable.
That we're gonna know the American culture.
Because we are American at the end of the day. Yeah, we're born in America.
Yeah, so. Exactly. But, like, I love my Mexican culture. I love my Mexican side. I love going to Mexico. And I enjoy that. But I feel like I never belonged. It was either... Or sometimes, like, I feel like our Spanish... Like, I feel like... Compared to our brother's Spanish, our Spanish isn't bad. But when I start hanging out with like my paisa friends, my Spanish isn't up to par like theirs. And you could tell that I'm not that Mexican. Yeah. I don't consider myself a no sabo kid. Right. I don't think I'm a no sabo for sure. But compared to their Spanish, like I'm not right there with them. Yeah. So I just felt like I never belonged.
Because we use more like slang.
Yeah.
And they use proper words.
Well, because I feel like even now, a lot of like my Hispanic friends aren't Mexican. They're like Colombian or Venezuelans or from Honduras, you know, they're not Mexican. So their Spanish compared to our Mexican Spanish is completely different. Yeah.
That's true.
But before in high school, I feel like my Hispanic friends were more Mexican.
Because Mexicans, I mean, I guess we still are the majority, but we're starting to become the minority.
Yeah. But yeah, so I feel like I just never belonged in either near here nor there.
Yeah, that's true. I get that. What are some hard moments you faced growing up? How did you deal and cope with them?
I feel like the biggest like traumatic moment I feel like I had was obviously our parents' divorce. Or like even if I want to go younger, just like when I didn't lose my virginity, I just have so many questions. And I'm like, well, who do I go to? Yeah. Like I didn't have an older sister, I didn't have someone like, you know, and then you were younger, so like you weren't there yet. And then, or just like, I didn't know I didn't know how to express my emotions or how I was feeling. I wish I had like my parent or someone there to guide me on how to navigate my emotions, or how to express them, not do stupid shit instead of hiding them. But then also like I feel like our parents' divorce really, really, really hurt. How did I deal with that? Not the healthiest way. I think I would drink my feelings away and do stuff that I wasn't supposed to be doing. And I think after I had my son is when I had to like face everything that I've been trying to hide and numb. And I guess just like I like to watch a lot of like not motivated, like motivational, like you know Jay Shetty. Like a lot of inspirational videos. And I think I've just learned a lot from that and just learned to open up or to like learn to let go, and then like therapy here and there. But yeah, just learning to what's the word I'm looking for?
Heal,
like the right, like the proper way, not hide my emotions.
Yeah.
And drink them away.
Like you used to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe because okay. If you could talk to your younger self, what would you say?
Oh my gosh. I would say that you are strong enough, you are beautiful enough, and you're gonna be okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're worth it.
That's good.
Yeah.
Do you ever picture yourself in the mirror saying those things, like actually like little you though?
Yeah, my therapist one time told me, sit in front of the mirror, just like you by yourself, sit in front of the mirror and pretend you're talking to your younger self and tell her everything that you know now, that you would have wanted her to know back then. So yeah, I've done that. It's very emotional.
One time I meditated picturing my little self, and the minute I saw myself, I hugged myself and I started crying.
Yeah.
And I couldn't do it. Like, I couldn't speak because of how...
It's just so emotional. Yeah. I've played around, or I've experimented with some mushrooms. And I have seen, like, my younger self.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I've seen my younger self and just, like, playing around. And that was just so emotional where I'm like, I wish I could just, like, I wanted to, like, go and hug her and tell her, like, you're gonna be okay. Everything you're gonna go through, like, you're gonna make it. You'll be fine and you're worth it. I always felt like I wasn't good enough. And I just want to tell her, like, you're fine and you are enough.
I want to know what in our childhood made us feel that way. I guess if I really dig deep enough,
I think it's, like, literally
the lack of emotional support.
The lack of emotional support from both of them.
Yeah, that's true.
Because as much as, like, well, like how I said, like, even though we had our mom and our dad, and we still have them, just as much as, like, my mom, it wasn't my dad, too, that we did it. He was very much a very hard worker and a very good provider, but we
didn't see him.
No.
And even when he was home, it's not like he would sit and play with us.
Yeah. So it's just like there was a lot of emotional neglect that we did not get, and I think that's why.
Well, I think it's crazy because obviously we didn't grow up with like that. We didn't grow up with affectionate parents. We didn't grow up with our parents playing with us. And I see the way my kid's dad is, and his parents were very much so affectionate with him, and they actually played with him. And it's crazy because even like when new family members have come and visited, they play with my kids like they've known them for years. Like they've never missed a day in their life.
And our family isn't like that.
No, and it shows because he gets down and plays with them, and he loves it, and you can see so much happiness in him. And me, I'm not gonna lie, it's not my...
You force it.
I force it.
Same.
Yeah. And it's like, I'll do it, but I don't want to do it. I'll hang out with you in other ways, I guess. Yeah. Is my way of, like, showing affection.
Yeah.
And I'm also not really an affectionate person.
I feel like I am a very affectionate person to the right person. Especially in relationships. I feel like with my first relationship, I was more affectionate. With my second one, no. But I feel like because of him.
Yeah.
And then my third one, I feel like I am. And then with my son, I feel like I am so affectionate with him. I feel like I'm probably the opposite because I didn't get that. I want to be it. Well, but then it's also weird with us. Like remember how we didn't give each other a kiss in the cheek for a very long time?
We started to do that because we saw it on the Kardashians. And it was like, from this day forward, we're giving each other a kiss.
Like, we're not affectionate with each other either. So I think it's just depending on the person. But we didn't grow up that way.
No, but I get it. I'm affectionate with my kids. Like, if they come up to me, they hug me and stuff, but I'm not always the one to go lead it. Sometimes. I don't know, it's really hard.
Like, it's hard. Like, I can see where somebody can say, I'm not affectionate. I can see that. But I feel like I can see myself opening up and being very affectionate to the right person. Yeah. At least in a romantic relationship way. With my son, I feel like I am super affectionate. I always lead it. And because of that, he's seen that and he tends to lead it a lot more now.
Yeah.
And
I don't know, it just depends for me, I guess, if I lead it or not. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Just depending on the situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's something, once again, that we never got. Like, they never came and hugged us just for the hell of it.
No.
Like, I remember if I wanted a hug, I would go up to them. But it was just
and
like...
even then, I would never.
It was just like a...
Yeah.
Like, okay, get away from me now.
I don't even remember going up to my parents and hugging them like that.
I do.
You do?
Yeah,
No,
I do. Because I feel like I was supposed to be an affectionate person.
Yeah. I think everybody's supposed to be affectionate.
Yeah.
It's just like our childhood just... Because I feel like people do need that. But I think it's your childhood just fucks you up.
Yeah, no way, seriously, that's true. What are some values that you were raised with that you still carry?
I think being very family oriented. Even though I know we always like had our fights, I just feel like that's still something I really carry and I want to continue carrying. And I feel like because of everything we've also been through with a lot of family, I feel like I want to show my kid, like, at the end of the day, like, your immediate family is literally all you have. Yeah. And you have to make sure you continue that relationship. And I get it, we're going to bicker, we're going to fight, and then we're also different. We can agree to disagree, but we're still going to be there for each other. Yeah, and I feel like in the last few years, we've learned that. Well, we've learned that a lot more, yeah. But it's sad because we had to go through like heartbreak, backstabbing to really know who is there for you. Yeah. Yeah. All around. Friends, family, anybody. Everybody, yeah. You mentioned your son. So tell us about the moment you found out you were becoming a mom. What were your feelings in the moment? And Tommy makes me cry. That's okay. This is where we get vulnerable. Were you scared? And who was like the first person you told? When I found out I was pregnant, I did not want to be pregnant. I was like praying that I had a miscarriage. I didn't want to I have nothing against abortions, but I just didn't feel like I could go through with that. So I was just like, I would always pray like, oh, hopefully I have a miscarriage. Hopefully, it's sad to say now, but I didn't want it. But I think it's because of like the situation that I was like, I kind of already knew, but I was like so blind to it at the same, or I guess I didn't want to accept it, I didn't want to see it. But then when I found out I was pregnant, the first person I told was his dad. And then from there, did I tell you guys all at the same time? No, you didn't tell us all at the same time because I remember when you told my dad, I was nervous for some reason. But you told him and I had already known because we were at his house and I already knew. So I think I told his dad first and I think I texted you or called you. I think you were the second person to know. And then from there, I think I told Marvin. And then I went for Christmas to my dad's house, and I told him. Was it Christmas or Thanksgiving? It was Christmas. Okay. Because Thanksgiving we spent it, and we went to Mexico. Remember? The year we went to Mexico. We literally had Thanksgiving at my dad's house, and then the next day we went. Okay. That night for Thanksgiving night we flew to Mexico. Okay, but let's talk about that day. Let's talk about Mexico, Jessica. Let's talk about that moment. So, the year 2017, we went to Mexico, to Bacalar, Mexico, for a cousin's wedding. So we flew out, we had Thanksgiving dinner, and that night we flew to Mexico. Yeah. And then we had, obviously with family, we're in Mexico having a good time, and I was drunk the whole freaking time. On the way back, I was just puking my guts out, and I get motion sickness. Yeah, so it was before we even got on the airplane. Yeah, it was before, but I was just like, I don't know, maybe because we've been eating like crap, I've been drinking a lot. I'm like, I've been drinking like this before, but anyways, I didn't think anything of it. She asked me, are you sure you're not pregnant? I'm like, no. You're like, there's no way. There's no way. But so the whole flight, I was puking, and then at that point, I was like, maybe because I get sick, so whatever. We land, and my boyfriend at the time picks me up, and whatever. I felt fine. I didn't take a test until like a couple weeks later. No way. Like 2 weeks later. That's crazy. I didn't take it because I didn't think anything of it. How late were you on your period? I was like, I think it was a couple weeks later already.
So that's what made you take it.
Yeah,
So
and then I was
technically when we left, you should have started your period.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I didn't, but I didn't even keep track.
Yeah.
So I was really early on, and then like 2 weeks later, I take a pregnancy test because I was like, oh, I haven't gotten my period, and then my boobs were really sore, and so I take a test, boom, positive.
That's crazy.
But I did not think I was pregnant. I swear I did not think I was pregnant. I was just like, we were eating like shit. I was just drinking. Never did I think I was pregnant.
Because before we went on the airplane, she wouldn't stop throwing up. I kept going to the bathroom with her, and I was like, what the heck? This is not like her. So I don't know. My witch senses were tingling, and I was like, I have a feeling she's pregnant. And my mom was like, go buy Dramamine. So we went to the little store and before we got on the airplane, and I told her, I was like, Jessica, are you pregnant? She's like, no, there's no way. And I was reading the bottle, like, this says do not take if you're pregnant. So if you're pregnant, tell me right now. And she's like, there's no way, Leslie. She took the freaking pills anyway. So, and then I remember before we even took off, she was throwing up, and I kept having to ask the flight attendant for bags.
Oh my gosh, I remember that.
And there was somebody next to us, and I'm just like trying to block her, but at the same time trying not to watch because I'm like, oh my gosh, she's gonna make me puke now. And then the flight attendant's like, if she's that sick, she needs to get off the airplane. I'm like,
yes.
I was like, she's fine, thank you. And then like I was just like, please take off. Like I was praying to God to just take off because I'm like, I am not about to stay another day in Mexico. I need to go home to my son. Like,
but dude, it was so crazy because when we landed, so I think I remember like more than half of the flight, I started feeling like I stopped throwing up.
Yeah.
And then I was fine. And then literally when we got home, I wasn't sick anymore. I was fine.
Crazy.
I was completely fine. I didn't have any symptoms. Like I was good. And that's like 2 weeks later, I was like, oh crap, I didn't get my period. My boobs started hurting. And that's when I took the test.
Yeah.
And then I was but then, so and then for Christmas, I told my dad, me and him went to my dad's house. We guys were all there.
Yeah.
You already knew.
I already knew, yeah. And I don't know why I was so scared. I remember you texting me, you're like, hey, I'm going to tell him. And I was like,
like as a Christmas present, I told him, and we told him that we're pregnant, and he was happy. And then I think that was Christmas Day or Christmas Eve. I think it was Christmas Day.
Probably day, yeah.
But then like a couple days later, I take a card. I wrote a Christmas card for my mom. And then I just go by myself to my mom's house. And I give her the card and I tell her that I'm pregnant. And then she starts crying and like just happy. I think everybody at this point was like wasn't disappointed. But I think my mom and my dad were kind of scared because then later on they like talked to me because of the relationship that I was in. But I think everybody was happy because I was 25 and I had no kids yet.
Well, at that point, the relationship wasn't.
It wasn't as bad,
but nobody knew if it was bad.
No, nobody knew.
So
yeah,
technically they were happy for you at the beginning.
But my parents saw some red flags that they were like.
I guess parents always sense everything.
Yeah. But it wasn't as bad than what had come with it. But then I told my mom, and then for New Year's Eve. I didn't want to tell people that I was pregnant because it was still too soon. But knowing me, my family knows me that I like to drink.
I remember.
My cousin was having a New Year's party.
Wasn't it? Because there was at my dad's house too.
That was Christmas.
So then this was Christmas Eve?
So I think they did it like a little bit before. I don't know. I have to look at the pictures.
No, I think that was like... So... I don't know, but I remember we were sitting with my dad's entire family at one point, and everybody kept trying to get you to drink, and you were just like, no, I don't feel like drinking.
I drank wine.
But then I took it from you.
Yes.
And I don't drink, you guys, but I was taking one for the freaking team because I knew this girl was pregnant.
Let me see. Okay, right here. Oh, December 24th. Okay. So Christmas Eve, my dad was doing something at the house.
Okay. And Christmas Day.
And Christmas Day I came back. So my dad didn't even know at this time.
No.
He didn't know, but he was serving me like wine. And I kept like taking a little bit, but then you would take over.
Yeah.
And then and then Christmas Day I told my dad, and then a couple days later I told my mom. So on New Year's, the week after, again, I was still so early on.
Yeah.
I found out I was pregnant on
Well, between Thanksgiving to
December 20th.
Okay.
I found out I was pregnant.
Wow, so literally 5 days before Christmas.
So I was super early on. I didn't want to tell people that I was pregnant. But New Year's Eve, my cousin's house, again, everybody knows I won't decline a drink. I had to tell everybody, and I told all my cousins, all the family, that I was pregnant. And everybody was happy, because everybody liked him at the time.
Yeah.
Everybody liked him. Everybody was super happy, and yeah, I was honestly by that point. No, at that point I still didn't want it. I was like happy, but I still didn't want the pregnancy. I was like, no. I think it was when I finally saw the ultrasound where I was like, okay, I'm excited now. I can't wait for this baby. Obviously, I didn't know what I was having yet, but yeah.
So now that we're talking about your pregnancy, go ahead and tell us how your pregnancy was. It easy? Was it hard? Are you God's favorite?
My physically, my pregnancy was so easy. I did not get motion sickness. The only thing, my eczema, I broke out really bad. Do you remember how my face was?
I don't remember.
It was so bad.
Usually the opposite happens.
The beginning. At the beginning, it was super, super bad, and then eventually my skin cleared up. My skin was glowing. I didn't start showing until I was almost 26 weeks pregnant. I only gained 19 pounds. And I'm so surprised because I ate like crap. I wasn't trying to take care of him.
And he wasn't big.
No, he was so tiny. Yeah. I remember at my last appointment, you know how they give you an estimate?
Mm-hmm.
He's he's going to be weighing 7, closer to 8. And I was like, oh, that was a baby. But no, when I had him, he only weighed 6'11". 6'12". Something like that. He was 6 pounds. But so physically, it was super easy. Emotionally, that was so fucking hard. Because, again, I was in a shitty relationship. He did not make my pregnancy easy at all. Have you seen that, quote where it says something about people treating you like shit through your pregnancy? It imprints it in you, and it's something that affects you for the rest of your life. There's just this girl that always talks about that on TikTok, and I feel so freaking true because I was treated like shit through my whole pregnancy because of my relationship, and I feel because of that I am such a different person now, and it's so hard for me to trust men, especially men. Because of that, which sucks because I know there is good guys out there, and I know that's something I can work on, but I don't trust people, men.
I don't trust anybody, man or woman.
So yeah, I think that has really fucked with me a lot, and as it's been 6 years, I don't think that pain has gone away. Yeah, that pain hasn't gone away. It's still there. It hurts. If it happens, still, the day it happened, it still fucking hurts. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as you're mentioning that your relationship was hard and your pregnancy was hard, do you want to dive deeper into what that was like? Give us more details about what this relationship was like.
So through the whole relationship, I feel like he was just... Well, he confessed to me that he had been cheating on me through my whole pregnancy. It was just a lot of lies, a lot of him making me feel like shit, a lot of him making me feel honestly, I don't know what else.
You're not worth it?
Not worth it. Just even though I was carrying his son, he still couldn't just fucking be nice to me. And then...
Wait, hold on. Before you go on, I just want to say, I think it's crazy because on the outside, from an outsider looking in, he was so proud to be a dad to a son.
Yeah.
And so the fact that he was treating the mother, the person who was birthing and bringing his son to this earth, the way he treated you is just crazy to me.
Yeah. No, yeah, definitely. I mean, I guess he was excited to be a dad, but There was not one time when I didn't cry. I cried myself to sleep a lot throughout that pregnancy. And I was just like, what the fuck am I doing here? I remember one time it was still pretty long for my pregnancy. I left the house and I went to go sleep at a hotel, a whole ghetto ass hotel in Midvale, because I didn't want to go to my dad's house. I didn't want to go to my mom's house because I didn't want people to know that we were having problems. I stayed by myself at a hotel, and dude, it was so scary. I can hear like screaming, people running down the hall, and I'm just like, my God, this cannot be my fucking life. So I had called my dad the next day after I left the hotel, and he said, "Don't do that. You shouldn't be by yourself at a hotel when you're pregnant or at all." But he's like, come to my house," and he's like, "You don't have to be with him if you don't want to be with him just because you're pregnant." Mm-hmm. And I'm like, "I know," but right at that point, it was still early on. I wasn't like it was still early on in the pregnancy. I'm like, "No, like I'm fine." Mm-hmm. He's like, "Well, if you guys ever gonna fight, don't go. Just come to my house." I'm like, "Okay." We kept fighting so much, but at this point I would just stay. I would just lock myself in the room. I wouldn't leave to a hotel, or I wouldn't go to anybody else's house. But he just really did make me feel like shit. And then there was closer to the end, it was the end of my pregnancy. I was scheduled to get induced on August 31st. On the 29th, I would try going through his phone. Oh, he would leave every night too. Like every night he would leave and wouldn't come home till so late.
In your car.
In my car.
Because this guy didn't have a car at the time.
In my car. And he would leave me alone a lot. So anyways, so on the 29th of August, I was trying to go through his phone, and he changed his password. And or his passcode. I asked him for his passcode and why he changed it, and he's like, well, he didn't want to give it to me. He's like, well, I have something to say. And I was like, what? Or that might have been on the 28th of August. So he's like, I've been cheating on you. I don't know, honestly, I blocked a lot of that out. He's like, I've been cheating on you. I just remember throwing him his phone, locking myself in the room and just crying the whole freaking night. And I remember him knocking in the door, asking me to unlock it. I wouldn't lock it. I literally just locked myself in and I cried myself. I cried the whole freaking night. Like, dude, I'm literally like a couple days from giving birth. That side is just like I was saying, that doesn't go away. Like, that pain still is very much still there. But so then I think I just like stressed myself so much. I ended up causing my not early birth, because I was already my 9 months. I ended up going into labor by myself. So then I wake up in the morning and I'm already having contractions. He ends up going to work. And I'm just contracting by myself at the house. And I texted him telling him that I think I'm going to have, I'm in labor. And then I think I started texting the family, like, I'm having contractions, whatever. And he ends up coming home at like 6. And the contractions they were still very far apart, but they were getting more intense throughout the day. And then finally at 10, we go to the hospital and I have him. But so I have him. I had him at like 1 a.m. on the 30th, and the next day I just remember, and there's so much stuff that I blocked off, like, because I don't want to remember it anymore. But what I do remember vividly is him saying that he wants to be happy, and that he just wanted to end it. And I remember my dad got involved, and my dad told him that he needed to grow up and be a man, that this wasn't about him right now, that he needed to put our bullshit aside and be there for me and our son. But he didn't. Whatever. So yeah, I feel like that has really, really affected me a lot. And it was just very, I feel like that's one of the hardest things that I've ever had to deal with, aside from my parents' divorce. Like, that fucking toxic ass relationship, and then still having to fucking put up with him because we share a kid.
Yeah. I mean, it's understandable. I am a mother, obviously, and postpartum
And dealing with postpartum
is hard enough as it is. And then on top of that, adding all that trauma to it, like, I cannot imagine. I remember it was, I know I didn't do much, but it was still so sad for me to see because I knew you were hurting and I also really didn't know how to help you because I'm the type of person where, like, if I'm going through something, I want to go through it alone. So I'm like, do I try to help her or does she want to be alone? Like, you know, I just didn't know what to do. But at the same time, like, I knew you were going through that. And I know that it was hard because, like I said, postpartum is hard. Just in general, whether, you know, if you...
I was like dealing with postpartum and then dealing with like this breakup and then dealing with like him, like all the shitty stuff that he had done to me, like just like dealing with so much. And then adding a newborn baby and then adding I wasn't sleeping and then adding that I wasn't working and I hadn't been working, so I had no money. Yeah, that was a very hard time.
Yeah, I do remember that. Speaking of hard times, who is someone you go to when you need support?
My dad.
Yeah.
I feel like he's always been like, how we said in the last episode, like he was really hard to go to when in like this situation that I'm like is saying now. I think this is when my dad showed me. I think this is when I really saw the unconditional love that a parent or a dad has. Well, at least my dad, that he showed me. Because I remember, like, when I was at the hospital and he was at work, and I remember going to the parking lot and I was crying. And I called him and he left work to go be with me. And then he was like, fuck him. Like, because we were renting a house, like his second house from him at the time. And he's like, don't worry about the rent. Well, you guys move out. And he helped me move out and I moved out with him. But I think my dad has been the main one. And even now, when I'm like going through it, I always call him.
Yeah, I do remember that move too. He had the audacity, your ex, to bring his other baby mama to help him move with her truck.
Yeah.
Like, that just shows the kind of man this guy is.
But he didn't even have a relationship with her before.
No, he didn't. No,
he would talk so much shit.
Yeah, he was just talking to her just to be spiteful towards you.
That's how I feel.
Yeah, I remember, because I was there. I went over. Because you were like, I don't want to be alone, please come over. So I was like, okay, I'm coming. So I went over because he was, and yeah, anyways. Okay, so being that you are single now, and all the trauma you went through, what are some qualities you are looking for in your future partner?
In a future partner? Honestly, I feel like because everybody's just like a work in progress, right? We're all trying to heal. I really do need someone that is going to be super, super patient with me, because as much as like I have done some work or I've done the work and continue to do the work, like there is a lot of stuff that still hurts.
Yeah.
And trusting is one. Like, I really want to be able to trust you. I really want you to be patient with me. I want a family man. I want a hardworking guy. And someone that's always going to put his family first. Like, I feel like I have my notes. I'm what kind of guy. I'm the kind of guy who wants just like, actually, I've been writing a whole novel. No, I'm just kidding. No, yeah, I really do want just someone that puts him and his family first, and puts me first, and is patient with me, and is soft with me, so I no longer have to be in
your tough girl era.
My tough girl fucking era. My masculine era. I want to be soft. Like, I want to be I want to be able to, like,
in your feminine area.
Yeah, I want that, but I haven't, like, I've been in my fucking masculine area for way too freaking long.
I also think the way we were raised very very tough woman, and so I think naturally it's in us, and then
adding all the other shit,
everything we went through, it's definitely, you're like, hey, I'm ready to be a woman.
Yes. I feel like we were very tomboyish.
Yeah, we did.
So now it's like, okay, well, I don't want to be a boy. I want to be a girl. I was boy. Yes.
Yeah. No, I get that 1,000%. Well, thank you for sharing that very tough story that almost made me cry. Because like I said, even though I know I wasn't really there for you, like, it still affected me, like, emotionally, just knowing that you were going through that.
Yeah, but even, like, I remember one time, like, I wanted to go to the movies, and you watched Tommy for me so I can go to the movies.
Oh, yeah, I did.
Yeah, he was, like, months old. Like,
I have pictures that I took of him that day.
Yeah. And just, like, even doing that, because, like, even my cousin Michelle, like, she watched him for me while I wouldn't go to work. Like, people helped. Like, nobody was able to take my pain away. Mm-hmm. Nobody was going to do that. My mom, my dad, my sister, nobody was going to do that. And I get that. But just, like, people being there for me and, like, the smallest things, like, taking care of him when I just fucking wanted some time for myself. Especially when they're so freaking young.
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah. But let's go ahead and lighten up the mood a little bit. So what's something that you're currently interested in? Like, any hobbies? Any TV shows? What's lightening you up these days?
TikTok.
The hot dogger daddies.
The hot dogger daddies that I scroll through. I try not to watch so much TV because when I get hooked, and I don't get out of my room. What I've been just doing, or something that I really want to do and I haven't done, I just haven't done it. But have you heard of that, like, dancing in heels?
Oh, yeah.
I want to do that. Mm-hmm. So I want to do that. I also want to go, remember, I don't know if you remember, I was taking, like, salsa classes.
Oh, yeah.
I want to do that, too, because I want to learn how to dance salsa. I just, like, with the whole schedule thing with my son, it hasn't been really working out. But, yeah, those are things that I really, really want to do. I feel like dancing has always been something I really liked.
I've always liked that.
Yeah. And I just need to get back to that and find and make the time for it. Mm-hmm. But, yeah.
What is it? Do what Marvin says. Give him some NyQuil.
NyQuil. Oh my God.
I'm just kidding. That's terrible. I would never do that. Yeah, it's hard making time for yourself as a mother to have self-care time.
Yeah, I guess, like, right now Tommy's on soccer break with soccer, but just when I go with his game or his practices, like, that gives me joy. Just, like, seeing him running around and, like, he's getting really good at soccer. Just, like, that brings me so much joy, and, like, that's what keeps me going. Yeah, just watching him. Mm-hmm.
Well, and also I think his age, because he's still so little, you can't leave him alone. Like me, I had to wait. Just in the last year, I've been able to leave them home alone, but it's because Jordan's at the age where he can watch his sister now. But I remember when Jordan was little, I couldn't.
You can, yeah.
I would have to ask for help, but we are the type of people where we don't like to ask others for help. So it's hard, but your moment will come because soon you will be able to leave him.
Just leave him for a while, even
if it's just a couple hours. Okay, so let's go back to your childhood a little bit. Who was your childhood celebrity crush?
Chris Brown.
Yeah, I do remember that. Okay, speaking of Chris Brown, I started watching this documentary on HBO Max about
the Chris Brown one.
Yeah,
I haven't watched it, but I want to watch it.
I finished it last night, girl. I used to think this man was attractive. After watching that documentary, I'm like, ew, he's freaking ugly.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
I know.
At the end, they showed a picture of him, and I was like, ew, he just got so ugly all of a sudden for me. Like, just because he's not a good man.
Yeah, no, I know he's not a good man. Yeah. Like, the whole thing with the Kriana, I know that. Yeah. But he's just so hot. Something about these bad boys. Like, for real.
Okay, so what is a random fact that people don't know about you?
A random fact that people don't know about me? Jeez, I feel like everybody knows everything about me. I'm just an open book. I don't know.
Well, the listeners don't know.
So. A random fact. No.
I'm trying to think too if I know something about you that people don't know.
Honestly, I feel like a lot of my close friends know me. I don't really know, like...
But this isn't for your close friends.
No, yeah. I think they'll get to know me, though. Like, they'll start getting to know my personality. I am a very adventurous person. A very adventurous person. I've gone skydiving. I'm down to do it again. I feel like if you tell me tomorrow you want to go to, like, Puerto Rico, I'm down. Now that I have my son, he does stop me. Like, I hold myself back a lot. But when I didn't have him, I'm just like, I'm always down for an adventure. You want to go drive to... Remember, were you with us when we went to Wyoming? Because we were...
Like the Osasan?
No, that was...
Oh, when you guys got the keg?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I wasn't there. I was already a mom by then.
We were gonna go snow sledding at somewhere in Park City, and for some, like, the tickets weren't valid.
Yeah.
So we're like, so now what?
Yeah.
And we're like, let's just go to Wyoming. And we're like, okay, so we went to Wyoming. And we got a keg.
Yeah, no, I wasn't there, but I did drink on that keg. I'm pretty sure I did a keg stand.
Yeah, I'm just a very adventurous, ballsy person.
Yeah, you are.
Tell me you want to hide a body. I got the shovel, girl.
For real.
You tell me you want to go. Some bitch is like over here talking shit, and or we won't start anything. That's the one thing with that. Like, especially me, I might be like loud.
What do you mean, especially me? Make it sound like I started.
Because you're more calm.
Oh,
no, because I feel like as they get to know us, like, I'm more of like
the outgoing one.
Yeah, I'm not one to ever start anything. I won't ever start anything. But if you start something with like someone I care for, like, I'm not gonna back down. Yeah, I've started a couple fights because of that too.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
But yeah,
that's true. She is.
I'm always a good time.
Yeah. That is very true. Okay, I'm gonna do a really quick this or that, and you tell me which one you like, but you prefer. So, early bird or night owl?
Night owl.
Sweet or savory?
Savory.
Summer or winter?
Summer.
Tacos or sushi?
Oh,
I knew you were gonna have a hard time with this one because I know you like them both.
Oh, that's so hard. I'm gonna have to say tacos. But I really like sushi.
I knew you were gonna have a hard one with this one.
Okay. Book it, tacos.
Okay, Netflix binge or movie marathon?
Netflix binge.
Plan ahead or go with the flow?
Oh, man. Okay, now I'm more with planning. Mm-hmm. But back then, I was go with the flow.
Yeah, for sure. Museum day or hiking day?
Hiking.
Camping or glamping?
I'm down for camping. We grew up like that. We don't mind getting down and dirty. Yeah,
I remember the time when we went camping and there was all those grasshoppers.
Oh my god.
My dad brought that to me the other day. Do you remember that? I'm like, yeah, I remember. That was like a vivid memory in my childhood.
Or just when we went to the dunes this summer with my dad, there was like those crickets.
Oh, but there wasn't that many.
No, but freaking one hit my freaking the goggles. Yeah. I'm like, oh, and then one touched like right here. Like,
oh wait, now that you said that, there's you weren't in the Can-Am with us, but Tommy was freaking out because there was one on him.
Oh my gosh, no, I can't do bugs.
No, me either. Explore space or explore the ocean?
Space. The ocean freaking scares me.
Too.
I don't want to know what's down there.
What if you're like in space though and you see an alien? You're like, what are you? Like, stay up late or wake up early?
Stay up late.
Pancakes or waffles?
Pancakes.
Hot weather or cold weather?
How cold, how hot? Because this is like summer and winter. So are we talking about like spring and fall? Like if it's 105 degrees, like no thank
like
you.
July or like mid-January where it's like pounding snow. So like one or the other extreme.
Yeah, that's a hard one. But if I had to pick, probably July, so I can day drink. And
Well, not just that, but like once the sun goes down, you can go out at night.
and then
And in the winter, you can't.
no,
Yeah.
July.
Um,
I can day drink.
be on a game show or a reality show.
Reality show.
Online shop or in person?
In person.
Okay, that is it. So my last question is what do you want people to remember you for?
My kindness. I feel like I'm way too nice sometimes. My kindness and just we're always wanting to be there and help people out. And be a good mom.
Yeah, that's a good one. That is it for today's episode, you guys. You guys got to know Linda a little bit better and a little bit deeper. As you can tell, it got very touchy. She shed some tears. She's doing great. She's doing great as a mother. She's doing great.
I'm just out here trying to become a better mom, evolving,
breaking generational
curses.
Yeah.
Trying to heal from this. Yeah. That's trying to heal from the trauma.
Yeah, trying to be better people in this world.
Trying to find my Dodger daddy.
So with that being said, you guys, don't forget to like this video. If you are watching this on YouTube, give us a follow on Spotify and on YouTube. Thank you guys for tuning into this week's episode. We will see you guys in the next one. Bye.